So here we are at the JD Power Summit, first event that we've covered at NADA show. But Mike, this is really kind of NADA show. NADA is the reason everyone's here. And here we have how many people? What's our attendance count?
I think it would be somewhere in the 23-ish thousand people altogether.
That's perfect to hear because
it could be better. We'll get walk-up registrations too.
There's everybody. It feels like everybody's here.
Yeah.
Like just even no matter which hotel you go to, you see and you're feeling and you're hearing.
Yep.
The taxi driver on the way in said F1 only really brought in about 30,000 people. So NADA show is coming in strong, almost matching F1.
Yeah. Well, like F1, we're here to have some fun, but we're here to learn, make new relationships, new connections,
That's right.
Rekindle some old ones. We learn so much from each other at events like this.
All the time. We were together just a couple weeks ago in Washington, D.C. at the public policy event.
Yes.
Now a few things have transpired and unfolded since then. What is your perception of the sentiment rolling after, since 2 weeks have gone by, the cars rule changes? What's everybody talking about, thinking about, and what do we need to figure out here at the show?
Well, I'd like to focus on the, sorry, I got
it's
distracted.
It's all
on
good.
EVs first. We continue an ongoing dialogue with the EPA, the Department of Transportation, the White House, their Office of Climate, and they can continue to be receptive to our input. The final rule's not coming out for another 6-8 weeks, but I'm encouraged that there's dialogue going back and forth.
Do you feel like, so it sounds like you're optimistic that there's still room for the final rule to be empathetic, I guess, to what consumers actually want?
Yeah, I can't speculate. I don't want to speculate, but I'm encouraged by the fact that they're listening to our input. And they tend to be agreeing with some of it because the truth is in the numbers. You got to look at the cars are not moving quite as quickly as once were hoped, and consumer demand is slowing some.
And we're hoping, the second letter was just sent out. Mickey Anderson kind of spearheaded the effort to get 7,000, I think, dealers to sign and send a letter to the White House. And that's the second one. So it seems like the solidarity of dealers representing the voice of the consumer, which is opposite of what the narrative is. The truth is that dealers hear and deal with what the consumers want on a regular basis.
Yeah, that was a grassroots effort, 100%. NADA was not involved in that. We've decided to focus our efforts in dialogue with people that are actually making the decisions.
Absolutely.
But to me, that letter, it's grassroots. It really echoed all the comments that we've been saying directly to the folks that are making the decisions. So I think it's a good thing. The dealers are united on this. The manufacturers are united. And again, we've got an open conversation with the government, and hopefully that will make the necessary changes to the rule that we see coming out here in March.
Well, Mike, you obviously have a lot of people to talk to. The session just let out.
Yeah.
Thanks for giving us some of your time, and look forward to an amazing show.
Anyway, thank you. I appreciate what you guys are doing, Paul, and have a great week.
Thank you so much.
All right.
All right, we're here at the JD Power Summit, and I'm here standing with my new friend, Rita Case, President and CEO of CBT Automotive. They have 12 rooftops in Atlanta, Fort Lauderdale, $2 billion in sales. And I'll start with this. The dealership group has written a book. Tell me about that book a little bit.
Well, we wrote a book about when we became 50 years old. So 50 years as a car dealership group, the CBT Automotive Group. And we wrote it on our company's philosophy, our company's culture. And we tell our customers we're an open book. And the name of the book is Our Customers Are Friends. Because over 40 years ago, actually 45 years ago, we decided that our mission statement for our company was going to be treat every customer as you would your best friend, which is basically free.
Better than family too, right?
Sometimes. So that's always been the way that our culture and how we have grown our business. So we tell we train our associates. We say, listen, if someone comes into the dealership, just pretend it's your brother, it's your high school, friend, it's your neighbor, or your barber, or just your friend. Pretend they are. It doesn't take any more effort. It doesn't take any more time for you to treat that customer as it was your best friend. And you will gain an immediate appeal to that customer, and they'll be customers for life. So that's the foundation of our customers' image of us. We're a family-owned and operated business. We give back to the community. We're very involved in many different organizations so that our community can be healthy, it can be safe, and it can be educated. Those are our three pillars of our philanthropic effort.
Wow.
And so with that, we've been able to grow a great tie with our community, and we bring our associates along. You know, if you don't have ESI, you're never going to have CSI.
That's
I always
exactly
say
it.
that.
That's exactly
so
right.
as long as your customers are see happy faces, they see educated associates, they see associates that are the same every time they come in the service drive or at the cashier or on the sales floor, they're going to say, man, this is a good place to do business. I feel like family here.
I love it.
That's how we've been able to be successful. That's our main ingredient to success, is treating our customer as we would our best friend.
That's absolutely encouraging. Now, a lot of people, when we talk all of these things around culture and employee and customer satisfaction and community, they have a hard time translating that to business outcomes. And the topic that you were just going through on stage was a lot about how the market is performing, specifically with buy sells and the consolidation of larger groups and buying up smaller groups. How do you see that playing out as consolidation, as buy sells are at still an all-time high, and transitioning culture as dealership groups are growing?
Well, we are very happy with our size. We have tremendous market share in South Florida and in Atlanta. So we're not interested in selling, and we're not interested in buying. Why would I buy at the top of the market?
Right.
So I believe that the consolidation will continue, and some of that's going to erode that philosophy of taking care of the customer, because when you have an entrepreneur, founder, owner, operator in your store every day, and you sell that to a public or a large group, I'm not saying that they don't do a good job, so don't misunderstand me. But they aren't going to do what it was the founder who's in there every day with his wife, and the kid is in the service drive, etc. So I want to believe that we all at this point in the automotive history of retailing understands that if you don't treat the customer fairly, if you don't give them a good product, and you don't stand behind your commitment, you're not going to have a happy customer. And customers have choices now, much more than they did before. With social media, one mistake, and the whole community finds out about it.
Right. Yeah.
So you really need to be sure that every customer is treated with great empathy too. You need to be a good listener. And so I think our industry has definitely done a much better job. Also in 1980, when they invented the CSI, which we never had before. So in 1980, when they came out with the Customer Satisfaction Index, I remember that really well. I already had my dealerships by then. And I'm like, wow, they're measuring what our customers think about us. So,
Imagine that.
Imagine that.
So we should care about it, right?
We should care about it. It's important. We've always cared about it, but they are forcing those that wouldn't necessarily care about and only looking at the profitability of a deal.
Right.
That if a lot of money is now being tied to your CSI results.
Absolutely.
And awards are being tied to it. So I think our industry's continued to improve with the customer's image. Not everyone's going to be happy, but you do your very best to make sure no one leaves unhappy.
That's amazing. What is your biggest focus item as a group or company as you head into 2024? We're already a little bit into it, but what are you focusing on this year?
Well, I'm focusing on something that I've always focused on, and that is stability.
Okay.
I need to keep my associates stable, happy, good benefits, continue to train them, show them a career path. Because if you can have a foundation in your business, that is going to be your secret weapon to expand your business and sell more products, whether it's service, parts, or sales. You really have to have a team, and that team needs to be consistent, solid. They need to believe in your culture. And so my goal is to keep my people
at the center. That's amazing.
At the center, keep them on a career path. Every one of our associates has a career path. If they're a service advisor, they want to be a service manager. If they're a cashier, and they want to be an office manager. If they're an office manager, they want to be a
They have so
manager.
many options in your organization.
Right.
It's amazing.
We run 5 businesses under one roof. So
It's
there's
incredible.
a lot of different departments that they can enjoy.
Amazing. Well, it sounds like you truly love people, maybe more than you love cars, and I'm so glad that you're a new friend and can't wait to just continue to watch you grow in your trajectory.
Thank you. Congratulations on your success also. Very happy for you.
Thank you.
here we are at the JD Power Summit.
Yep.
I have the legend Jim Fitzpatrick.
Where? Who's
yeah,
the legend?
yeah.
Jim
Well, your son.
Fitzpatrick,
He's
right?
about to go
That's
on it.
exactly
Yeah,
right.
The
right.
son
That's
of a
John
legend.
Fitzpatrick.
Yes.
But close enough. He's way better looking and a little taller.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Well, there you go. We'll,
That's right.
we'll thank his mom for that.
That's right.
Right. So, basically, we're at the NADA show. There's
Yeah.
over 700 people here right
know.
now.
Unbelievable.
And we're watching the dealer community come together.
That's right. That's right.
You have some new initiatives this year with CBT News where
We
you're
do.
live streaming from the floor.
Yep.
Tell us about what you're
We
going to
do.
be doing.
So we're going to be live streaming, as you said. We have 41 interviews lined up over a 2-day period of time. We're literally doing one every 15 minutes.
Who's doing the
you know.
interviews?
I'm doing the interviews.
All of them?
Yes. Bridget's like, you know what? You got this. So
Bridget's off camera
you
right
know,
now.
that's right.
She's like, I got him to do the hard work. I'm just
As you
gonna...
know, Cheyenne Malone took over Bridget's responsibilities doing the news every day.
Yep.
She's doing a great job.
Bridget looks a lot more relaxed.
She is. Cheyenne was unavailable to join us during NADA, but she's doing a great job. So so we're very excited. First time we're doing live. I think we were inspired by what you guys do because you run around doing live, do a great job.
Try.
Like we got to do that. How come we're not doing that?
You're going to do it, and it's going to look amazing because you have an Ethernet cable.
You just need one long Ethernet cable,
Yeah, right,
Just like
right.
a big spool,
So, Jim, what NADA is this for you? You've been to a couple as a
Oh
dealer,
my, as
and
a
then
dealer,
obviously all the media work.
I think it's number 27.
Okay.
27 NADAs.
So,
Yeah.
I'll ask this question.
Sure.
What feels different about this NADA coming in? We haven't really started yet than
Yeah.
the other 26.
Oh my God, the other 26. Not a lot.
Okay.
You know, the auto industry was always and has always been faced with certain challenges. Always been. I mean, there's always been something that we thought, oh my gosh, what are we going to do with this? Today, what are we going to do with the stockpile of EVs that we're not selling,
That's the thing.
that consumers seem to not want, and we're all excited about that. But if you just go back a few years, it was COVID. What are we going to do in COVID? That all worked
And then
out.
you go back a few years. What are we going to do with autonomy?
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. And oh my God, everybody's going to,
Yeah,
not
I'm
need a vehicle.
sensing a trend. Okay.
And of course, franchises. It's over. It's all going to be OEM
Agency
operated.
model, yeah.
Exactly.
That's
yeah,
going
you know
away.
the deal. So it's today's flavor might be OEM. I mean, might be EVs.
yeah.
With the OEMs wanting to shove those down our throat.
And the government.
But it's fun to see the industry. Take a deep breath and then say, let's pivot. Let's do what we got to do, and we'll get through this.
And
Just
figure it
like
out.
they always have on every single
Isn't that
issue.
funny? There never has been
No.
something that they haven't pushed through
No.
and actually come out better on the other side.
That's right. That's right. They come out stronger. It's a very good point because we do. We always come out stronger, whether it be the 2008, 2009 collapse.
Yep.
And everybody said, oh my gosh, my date goes all the way back to when I got in the business in the early 80s. And we had 17.5% interest rates. 17.5.
Right now we're getting upset about 9.
Exactly.
Right.
So the dealers that are my age in their 60s are laughing at this going,
Wow.
they're excited over 9? Oh my
Wow.
gosh. So
Like it could be to 17.
that's exactly
It's
right.
been there.
That's exactly right.
Well, Jim, thanks
So-
for giving us a few minutes. I know
Absolutely.
you're about to go in there. Thanks for the important work
Thank
you all
you.
do.
And keep up the great job. I mean, seriously.
We're gonna
Love
try.
people more than you love cars.
That's
I
right. It
love
takes all of us.
I
Thanks,
love
Jim.
it. Great job.
All right, we are here at the JD Power Auto Summit here in 2024. I'm standing here with Stewart Stropp, the Director of EV Intelligence for JD Power. I've had the pleasure of having conversations with you before.
Yes.
But you just came off stage going through a little bit of an EV recap as well as a panel looking back and looking forward. Tell us a little bit about, give us from the perspective of JD Power where we have come from, especially in 2023, because there's a lot of doom and gloom, but it's not all that, right?
Yeah, absolutely, Kyle. So yeah, certainly a lot of kind of ominous undertones out there, if you will, second half of the year in particular, as inventory's kind of built up a little bit in the franchise system. But yeah, if you look back and stare at the numbers, kind of cut through the noise, saw a nice increase in share, ended up at 8.4%, over 1 million EVs sold at retail.
Wow.
Obviously the first time we've seen that.
Yeah.
So definitely kind of some good momentum going there. But a couple things that we really hit on in the discussion today was to keep that going. We are going to need to see more mainstream products, right? There are a lot of, a number of key kind of product deferrals last year.
Yeah.
We need to see some of that come into the market. We've got to have more affordable products on the mainstream side of the equation. Speaking of affordability, we got to talk about total cost of ownership.
Yeah.
This is one of the key differentiators with EVs. Upfront costs, for the most part at this point, they're definitely higher than comparable ICE vehicles. But that is coming down. In the meantime, when you look at that broader spectrum of costs across like a 5-year window for purchase and a 3-year for lease, it starts to look a lot more affordable. In some cases, it is more affordable for EVs versus ICE vehicles. So we got to really start talking that language, really educating customers on that, which is new, you know, for a lot of shoppers. Then the other piece that we really hit on, obviously, is charging. We are still at a point where when we talk to shoppers who are not ready to make that leap, 4 of the top 5 reasons why all relate to charging.
Wow,
right?
that's incredible.
The other one's price, the other 4 are charging. So we've
price and charging.
Out.
So when it relates to charging, where do you see the majority of the ownership needing to be placed on that? Is it in infrastructure? Is it in charging education at home? Where is the majority of that placed at this point?
Yeah, I would say yes. Right? But, so a couple things on that. The reason I kind of make a joke out of it a little bit is 85% of charging among the existing EV owner base is happening at home.
Yeah.
So, we definitely have a need to build out more public charging infrastructure, but as things stand right now, vast majority is happening at home. It's one of the biggest benefits of owning an EV, the ability to just charge it right in your garage.
Yeah, but we deal with the majority of Americans renting or living in multi-unit home spaces,
Absolutely.
Which is one of the difficulties to adoption, correct?
Very, very true. Definitely to that point moving forward, that charging at home number is for sure going to go down, right?
Yeah.
As the market matures. So we've got to have more public charging infrastructure out there, not just for the long haul one-off event, trip to grandmother's house or whatever, but also to your point, people who are living in multi-unit dwellings and in more kind of dense settings where they're not necessarily going to have access to a private garage or a private parking space. So that's got to be built out. So there's really ownership pretty much across the ecosystem, where I think in the near term we can do a lot more to educate customers on what charging really is all about, where you can do it, when you can do it, which kind of chargers you should use, and so on. But then in the longer term, we do need to build out more infrastructure.
Yeah.
No question.
So I think there's obviously education, there's infrastructure. Recently, as early as this week, Mary Barra has come out and GM has said, hey, look, we're taking a different approach to hybrids as opposed to all in on EVs. There's other manufacturers like Toyota that have already made those statements. How do you see, as you do market research, demand matching production? I know that you said affordability of these vehicles is extremely important, right. But is there the demand, if the education and infrastructure is there, to meet the production that's currently out there?
Right, that's a great question. And one of the things that I talked about on stage was how, if you look over a 3-year window, shopper interest in EVs is without a doubt up, right? It's gone, from the teens, low 20s up to like the mid to high 20s. But over the last year and a half or so, it's kind of stayed there. So it really has kind of plateaued more recently, despite the fact that there is more inventory out there and so on. So I think there is a major opportunity to hit on these key things around educating consumers about TCO and about charging. But back to the comments earlier, we need to get more, not just in terms of inventory, but just products that simply exist in the marketplace. We need more mainstream products.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Sure. Well, hey, I really appreciate you taking the time. You're obviously doing the work
Kyle.
of educating the industry of how we serve the consumer. Thanks for spending a little time with us, Stewart.
Thanks so much, Kyle. Appreciate it as always.
Yeah.